Hey, and welcome to the Izzy Chinche Show. I was so blessed and so taken care of. Like, God really took care of me in that time, because that's before any of my content was viral. People were not listening, watching, like, at all, which if you're gonna start anything, that's how it's gonna be. I am so pumped that you tuned in. My goal with the show is to inspire and motivate you to the best of my abilities. I believe our world needs more leaders, and I believe that you, my listener, are a leader, and that you have the opportunity to impact your community and family by simply being you. I truly am here to try and serve and offer value to your life. And if you enjoy the show, it would mean the most to me if you could please either rate, subscribe, or share the show with anyone who you think might benefit from listening. Together, we can make this world a better place. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope you love today's episode. Welcome. I'm so excited that you are here and have this opportunity to connect with me and to listen to this podcast, and hopefully it adds a lot of value as always. Today, I'm going to be chatting about how to stop being insecure about your posts on social media. And the reason I'm chatting about this is because I feel like it's coming up all the time. I feel like I'm around a lot of entrepreneurs or friends who are like overthinking their posts, and is this okay to post? Should I post this? Should I not post this? And I keep on reminding everyone, I'm like, there are no rules. You can post whatever you want, as many times a day as you want, whatever type of content that you want. And there are no rules. It doesn't have to be a certain way. It doesn't have to be in a certain format. Post what you want to post as many times a day. It doesn't matter. It literally does not matter. You are in charge of your social media accounts, so post what you want. But I'm going to dive a little bit deeper and talk about kind of my experience and overcoming my insecurity in posting and posting multiple times a day and posting podcast, soccer, relationship, whatever it is, and not caring. Because I'm going to say this like 1,000 times today, there are no rules. There are no rules. There are no content rules. You post what you want to post. And as soon as you stop being afraid of other people's opinions and what they think and getting over your own insecurities, you won't care, and you'll have freedom to post whatever you want. So the first time that I started posting myself after like years of no media was in September. So about, I think like 9 months ago, I started posting myself. And in the beginning, I had so much anxiety and resistance around it. And I was like, oh my gosh, it has to be right. It has to be perfect. I have to do it this way. And the other thing that got me the most insecure was my spelling. I'm dyslexic. I've said, if you've been following me for a while, you know I'm dyslexic because you probably see it in my posts. And when I first dropped my podcast, I had like multiple spelling errors in like the names, the titles, stuff like that. And I had like a full-on panic attack. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm making all these mistakes. This is so embarrassing. I can't even believe this. And I was actually talking to my husband, and he was just like, babe, it's really not that big of a deal. But I had like a full-on panic attack over a spelling error. And I was like, whoa, I need to do some work. I need to evaluate that. And I need to see where that's coming from. It's not normal to have that kind of reaction to such a small mistake, right? That most people aren't really even paying attention to. Actually, I'll get into the haters talking on it later, but most people, not the non-haters, who are the people I'm actually speaking to, don't really pay attention to the spelling errors or care that much, from my understanding. Either way, I don't care. If you do, you can leave. So I was like, wow, why do I have this much anxiety about this? This is not normal to literally have a panic attack over a spelling error. And I was like, okay, where is this feeling coming from? Why am I feeling this way? Why does this feel so heavy and so intense and so much? And because I started watching other people who like, they'll post something and they feel the same. They're like, like it's like a pressure on their chest and they're panicking over a post. And you're like, because you made a mistake on the post, like relax. So for me, I had to do some deep work and realize where that came from. And it actually came from my childhood. So I couldn't read well growing up. So I had to spend a lot of extra time just figuring out how to read. And I actually had a family member who was helping me teach me how to read. and the method was not good. The method was me trying to read, they held the book in front of my face, and when I made a mistake, they hit me in the face with the book. So it was like mistake, instant punishment, mistake, instant punishment. And it was kind of traumatizing as a kid. And I would start crying. I'd have tears fogging me up. So then I couldn't read and I'd be crying. And it was a mess. It was not a good method. I don't recommend the method. But what it did was teach me to have this relationship with my mistakes that was like so toxic, because I was like, I made a mistake, the punishment is coming, the pain is coming, the shame is coming because I can't read. And so I realized I was feeling that way when I made mistakes on my post or I made mistakes on my podcast. I was like, I felt like I was that 10-year-old again getting hit in the face with a book because she couldn't read. And I was like living that again. And as soon as I actually realized that that's what I was connecting that to, I was like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. Because when you have these massive reactions to small things, it's really important to do the work, because it means that you have something that is needing to be addressed. It's needing to be addressed. So then I had to go back in and do some work and really like lean into that and heal from that and support myself and be like, okay, that wasn't right that happened or whatever, but you're okay now. Like, you made it out, you're okay now, and this doesn't matter. And most people aren't paying attention to. But recognizing where that wound originally came from and then how it's manifesting in my adult life was absolutely crucial. And I think there's a lot of us who have things like that. And it's not to like open up a past wound and go like sit and dwell in it, and like if you need to, you need to, but it's not to do that. So you can actually move forward and be like, oh, I got to do some healing. I got to accept this piece of me that got rejected, got hurt as a child. Now I accepted it. Now I can move on and not be triggered by all these mistakes. And I realized that it was like, I was so blessed and so taken care of. Like, God really took care of me in that time, because that's before any of my content was viral. People were not listening, watching like at all. Which if you're going to start anything, that's how it's going to be. Like, no one's going to listen at first, and that's totally fine. and that's how it was for me. But in that time, I was able to like face all these insecurities and lean into them and do the healing, because I didn't blow up overnight. And I'm so grateful for that. I feel so taken care of by Jesus, because like I needed that. I needed to have that slow build so that I could gain confidence and security and face those things that were causing me to have reactions like that. Because now, fast forward, I've had multiple posts go viral, and some go really viral. And the number one, well, I have two major hate comments that I get. One is just like misogyny and men hating on me because I'm a woman, which is hilarious to me. I'll do a whole other podcast on that. But the second one, the single most hate I get on my posts is people pointing out my spelling errors. That is it. They just do like an apostrophe or whatever thing to like, and then spell, sorry, I'm tripping over my words, like spell correct whatever it is that I spelled incorrectly. And I get like multiple of those a day, because when you have a post that goes viral, it goes viral for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. So you get comments like every day on a post that's like from, I have one that's like 2 months ago and I'm still getting comments on it. I'm like, really? You're still out here like spell checking me? Like, but anyways, I get a lot of those, comments. And if I hadn't done the work in the fall, if I hadn't had to face that insecurity in the fall, I probably would have taken those posts down, because I probably couldn't handle the volume of spell checking comments on my page, because I just wouldn't have confronted that issue, and I wouldn't have the security to be like, this literally doesn't matter at all. I don't care. But that's how I felt at the time when I first started out. I was like panicking every time it came up. It's also funny that that's like what people go to. They're going to always look for the flaws. And I think I probably have a little piece of sometimes anxiety, not anymore, honestly, maybe like a couple weeks ago. I feel like I already dealt with it, coming up around people spell checking and correcting and stuff like that. But I've really gotten over it. But the only reason I got over it is because I had to go back and realize, where did this pain come from? Where was my insecurity coming from? And wow, that's sad that I'm letting it affect my adult life. So if you want to stop being insecure about what you're posting on media, which I feel like everyone should, because it doesn't matter. First of all, notice what type of insecurity comes up. What type of insecurity, where do you feel it in your body? What does it remind you of? We're all, at the end of the day, it comes down to one thing. We're like afraid of people judging. And then there's like deeper roots off of that. I'm afraid of people judging me, like, oh, she can't spell or whatever, so she's dumb, she's not smart. It makes me feel like that child again, right? Not anymore though. We're good. We shedded all that, or most of that, hopefully. But you start recognizing, like, where is my insecurity coming from? Where in my body do I feel that? Okay. And then what does that take me back to, right? Is it a time in high school when people were making fun of me, right? Or in middle school, or a time, where my parents made me not feel smart, or my brother did this, or whatever it is. And then sit with that and realize that if you don't confront that one incident, or it could be multiple, but if you don't confront that, you're going to let it hold you back for the rest of your life. And that's no way to live. And I don't want that for you. And you shouldn't want that for you. And so you got to start realizing, like, okay, I have this resistance around these posts because I'm afraid of people thinking I'm cheesy. And why is that? Okay, because when I was a little kid and I was dancing, I got made fun of, or whatever it is. It's very easy to like go back to, it's not very easy, it's easier to go back to those things that happened to you as a child, that now as an adult with a logical brain, you can be like, oh, okay, that's how I felt, and that's the experience that I had, but that wasn't the reality. That wasn't the reality. Reality is I'm not dumb. The reality is I should not be punished every single time I make a little mistake, right? That was my reality. I was like, oh, I gotta undo all that. And you probably have something like that that's coming up, that's making you not post things that are valuable, things that are going to like serve other people, things that matter. It's going to make you try and post something that's perfect. And posting something that's like of the perfect picture, the perfect video, I said this perfectly, it's not authentic. It's not authentic to be perfect. And the highest vibration is authenticity. So if you want to land with people, if you want to connect with people, you have to be authentic. And that's why I don't edit a lot of my mistakes. I make mistakes. We don't edit anything out of the podcast. It all goes, because that's going to land. I don't pretend to be someone I'm not. I don't pretend to be perfect. I'm not perfect. I don't have everything down. I'm filming this podcast on, an iPhone, my iPhone. I don't need to pretend this is something that it's not. I need to be authentic and I need to serve. And if I'm trying to be perfect, I'm not going to land. And so if you're creating content and you're trying to get your content perfect, you're probably going to have a really hard time landing. There is a difference between trying to add value and trying to be perfect. Yes, you should be trying to add the most value possible, especially if you're an entrepreneur or someone starting a business, which I think most people like that are listening to this podcast. But if you want to serve, you want to start a business, everything like that, yes, value first. But it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to look perfect. My post that has gone the most viral, it has 1.7 million views, is a video that I took that's low quality. Actually, my friend took a video of me from 4 years ago. And I found the clip on my phone. I was like, let me make a piece of content with this clip. And I made a piece of content. And the first thought with the content, I was like, how can I add value to the person that I'm serving? The person that I'm serving is a high schooler who is trying to play college soccer. And I was like, okay, I'm trying to add value. What can I do? What is going to be the most valuable thing that I add? And it was a clip that's fuzzy, doesn't look that great. It's 4 years old. I added value on it. I added music. I didn't think about it. I posted it, let it go. For 2 weeks, that video sat. Nothing really happened. had like 2,000 views, whatever. And then all of a sudden I actually left my phone at home. I was like, I need to unplug. I came back and I was like, whoa, why do I have, 400 likes? Like, what's going on? I looked at it and maybe it was on 400 likes. I don't know. A lot of likes, a lot of notifications, whatever, maybe 400 notifications. And I looked at it and it had, hit a couple 100,000 and then it just gained momentum and went from there. But the point was, it wasn't a perfect post. I never tried to make it perfect. All I did was try to add value. And when you're trying to add value and you're not trying to be perfect, you're going to meet this like road of authenticity and servitude that's going to land with your people. So to recap, if you are tired of being insecure about your social media posts, one, do the work. Notice when you're having a reaction, why you're having that reaction, where it comes up in your body, and support yourself, do the work, dive in, and realize where it's coming from and logically work your way out of it. And two, don't try and be perfect. Don't do it. It's such a waste. Just serve. And also, if you're just starting out, like, no one's really watching anyways, so it doesn't even matter. Like, if I could go back and tell myself, like, 9 months ago, I'd be like, Izzy, like, 300 people watched that. And probably didn't even watch the whole thing, so it doesn't matter. So go get after it. Conquer those insecurities. Be authentic. Don't try and be perfect. And support yourself where you need. I love you. Thanks for listening. Thank you for listening. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, I would greatly appreciate if you could share this episode with 5 people you think could benefit from the show. Also, please feel free to connect with me on Instagram at IzzyChinche or my website at izzychinche.com. Thank you so much for being you. Keep being a leader and making this world a better place.